right. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Gomez.
Okay.
And I'm very nervous about today's movie. And you are?
Oh, I'm Adrienne Gunn. And you know what? Our pod is called Don't Ruin This For Me. And it's a podcast that's definitely going to ruin things for you. And this week we're shaking things up.
I see what you did there. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
All right. I
Too
see
good.
what you did there. We are shaking things up because we watched Cocktail with Tom Cruise, Brian Brown, Gina Gershon, and the beautiful Elizabeth Shue.
So good looking.
So cute. I kept texting you, normal person.
Yes,
Love
beautiful.
to see, obviously a, top tier normal person, but like normal person. Anyway, this movie's from 1988. I was 8 years old. Can you say how old you were?
Gosh, I would have been 14. Oh my God.
nice.
Amazing. It's a story about two bartenders bartending.
I was like, that's the script. That's the recap.
It's very compelling stuff. The Chicago Reader movie critic Jonathan Rosenbaum called it very, very stupid.
I love that review.
It's great.
I love it. I was
Wait,
like,
where was our hometown boy Roger Ebert?
He was also not into it, not to anyone's surprise. But you remember when we did Up in Smoke last season?
Yeah, I will never forget it.
And you were so irritated because you were like, she texted me, we were watching Up in Smoke, and she's like, I can't believe we're watching this movie about men doing nothing.
Yes.
And this is exactly the same kind of feel.
Yeah.
And this is, men doing things that men love.
Uh-huh.
Drinking, money, ladies, and just being real asses.
Yes.
That's pretty much what it's about.
You left out slam poetry.
Oh, right.
Men love that. And attention. Lots of attention. But I've wisened up since last year because since last year I've gotten more into edibles. So I hope my parents aren't listening to this because they'll be really appalled. But I took an entire 5 milligrams of weed last night.
We're crazy. We
For
get,
me,
we get turned up.
right? Like I do like a little 2 just to take the edge off. This I was like, I'm going to need the whole thing. So I took the whole thing.
Is this before or after watching?
It was right before, so we'll see how much I remember. Anyway, okay, this movie, according to Elizabeth, has location changes.
Yes, that was much more than they did in Up in Smoke.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's
Oh, wait, I guess I went to Tijuana in that one.
Oh, yes, to get the van. God damn it. Did you seen this movie? They make the van out of the weed?
Yeah.
Okay, All right. Anyway, Up in Smoke was just men in cars getting high. At least the writer of Cocktail, this is his name, Haywood Gould.
Yes.
Was he a bartender?
He was,
don't
yeah.
was, yeah.
Thank God we have a man in the room. We have a man in the room for the first time this season to tell us what's up. Anyway, he tried to piece together a storyline that included unplanned pregnancies. That really came from nowhere.
Sure
Right.
did.
And it really took the third act. Anyway, mental health issues and choreographed scenes with bar tools.
I'm addicted to love.
Oh, I did love the moment where they turn the music all the way down so
Yeah.
the entire bar can go,
sing.
addicted to love.
Movie's so terrible. And I'm so concerned. This is why I was saying that I'm concerned about the movie today.
Okay, good.
I do not know how we're going to build an actual conversation from this film.
That's
Usually-
why you're nervous?
Yes.
I thought you were going to be nervous because you were going to be like, Elizabeth, you drink too much.
I don't think that I have to worry about that. We all know those are facts. I was worried that I was going to be too hungover today. All right. But guess what, Adrienne?
What?
We have a wonderful, wonderful guest. That
I'm super excited.
I say this every week, but we have such cool people that we know.
Always.
And today we have Danny Shapiro who's joining us. Congrats to you, Danny, our first straight white cis male of the season. You'll be the only one. You're closing it out for us. So yes,
Thank you,
we're
thank you.
excited to
Please
have
feel
you.
free to mansplain Cocktail to
Seems
us.
like a wild distinction, but appreciate it.
We're thrilled.
Danny is a founding partner at Scofflaw Group. If you Chicagoans are here, you know they're wonderful, wonderful hospitality group. My favorites are Scofflaw and Moonlighter.
I've been there.
I know, and the best part about it is that they're across the street
Yes.
from each other. So when I'm
Yes.
done drinking at Scofflaw, I can walk over
Yes.
and drink at Moonlighter.
Very easy. I went on a date recently. Well, I guess it was like a year ago. So not recently.
At which one?
At Scofflaw.
How'd it go?
not great. I think it was fine, but then not fine. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like
That
it was
happens.
fine, like during, and then like he walked off into the sunset.
You're like, all right, I guess.
I was like, fuck, all right. I bet you see that a lot. We can come back to that.
I should have added to our themes. Also, I want to say that Danny is the co-host of a podcast called Joiners, which
Love
is
it.
also about the hospitality industry. And Danny, if you ever need someone to be on your show, Adrian used to work in hospitality
Yes.
at the Cracker Barrel.
Yes.
When she was a young woman.
Yes, I had 4 stars on my apron because I took all the quizzes and tests that you had to take to become a par 4
Wow.
waitress. Yeah, it was
What is
Is
a par
that the
four?
maximum?
yeah, it was a par 4 waitress at the fucking Cracker Barrel.
What does that mean?
It means I had 4 stars on my apron,
Yeah.
and then it said Adrian.
The highest level.
Yeah, thank you.
But what happens when you reach that level? Do you get like preferred shifts?
No,
or-
I think you're
Just
just like every.
recognition.
Yeah, I mean, when you walk up to the tables, you can see a bitch
respect.
with 1 star, no stars. I'm running around there with 4. So
yeah,
like,
you're flexing on people.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know if you need me over at any of your groups, but maybe.
You never
we'll
know.
talk.
You
We
never
can
know.
talk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's talk
Yeah.
offline.
yeah.
All right, Adrian, what have
Yes.
you been into this week? Anything special? Anything cool?
I mean, literally, we should drop this portion of our podcast because by the time this
But it
comes
comes out.
out,
We have been recording, Danny. You don't even understand. We've been recording for so long.
Yes.
And this whole thing has been hinging on us getting a theme song.
right? Yes, it's been a real mess, but I think we've got one. We're the closest that we have been.
Yes.
But obviously, I'm obsessed with the Succession finale. Are you a Succession person?
I am. Yeah. Long story short, my wife was not super into this season, so we're behind on like
What?
this entire season.
What?
But have
no.
watched every other bit of it.
Wait, you're telling me that you have not watched the finale?
No, but I've a lot of it's been spoiled, so I'm not super
Okay.
sensitive to it.
All right.
So
Well, I'm not
talk
gonna
what you got to talk about.
I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I will say my current like vibe is listening to all the podcasts about Succession, about the finale, what happened, whatever. And then my other current vibe is coming up with all the prequel stories that could be written about this. So let me toss a couple to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1, Roman, problem teen, obviously sent to Exeter.
Yeah.
Right? He's at boarding school.
Yeah, for
We've
sure.
got an entire fucking show that can be on, what's that channel? CW. Is
Yeah.
that still a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I love CW.
but you're ready,
They had
right?
The,
Yeah, that would be
the
great.
originals.
Right?
I would watch.
Okay, another show. Kendall, he's at Wharton, obviously. He's learning how to speak business and
Yeah.
like he's the biggest douche and all his friends know except for him. Right?
Does he spiral then or after?
No, I think he's like the big man on campus, but only because he always picks up the tab, right? Like
Yeah.
he's the richest dude. He meets Rava there,
Yeah. Okay.
do you think?
I don't. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious. Like, when do all of his drug problems originate?
At Wharton, for
Okay,
sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
all the
what?
cocaine.
In this show, there's rich people doing drugs?
Yes, I don't know why you're not watching it.
I'm
Okay.
so shocked.
I don't know why you're not watching it. Obviously,
It's a great show.
There's the Logan Roy origin story. Him and
That
his
would be
brother.
great, yeah.
Him and his brother in
and how
Scotland.
they start to diverge.
Yeah. Fucking, I'm just telling you, the opportunities for Succession fan fiction and prequels are endless.
They're going to do it. It was too successful for them to not.
That's what
lean
we
into
should
more
do.
stuff.
We should do a fan fiction show at Scofflaw.
Oh, do you want us to do a show?
We'll
at
talk
Scofflaw?
offline.
talk
Are you
offline,
looking
yeah.
for? Are you looking for content?
Yeah.
Like, are you looking for hosts to like? You know, we're storytellers,
Yes,
but
that's what we do.
We could do other things as well.
Yeah.
We can make cocktails while telling stories.
Would you? Be
We'll have a whole new
interested-
act.
Would you be interested in building an entire show around Elizabeth and I looking for a boyfriend for me to date? And it could come from patrons at the bar, right?
Yes,
Like we could
yes.
just pull them from right there.
There's
Yeah.
actually a show that happens at Shuba's that's called like Hot Mash or Mashed Potato
Right.
or something, where they do that. They like pull audience members. To try
Right.
to
We'll just
date.
pull someone up. We'll interview them on the spot and figure out if they're a good match for me.
100%.
And they could ask me questions too.
I don't even care
Yeah.
if Danny wants us to do it. We're just going to do it.
I was
We're just
gonna
going to
say,
show up in the back of Scofflaw.
I don't know that Danny looks sold on this.
I would watch this. I would listen to it for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We can do it in your Scofflaw studio.
Just pull people from the bar. Be like, hey, do you
Yeah.
mind walking with me for a second?
Yeah, you got some regulars that you probably
Yeah.
already thinking about that are going to be great
right.
for this.
We've got a list going now. Yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, that's what I've been up to, you guys. You?
Me?
You?
No, yeah, I've been so incredibly busy. I haven't
She's been doing housework.
Yes, I did housework over the Memorial weekend.
Yeah.
I drank a lot over Memorial weekend. I bought patio furniture. That was a big deal. And I have during the week we've recorded 3 episodes actually within a week and a half.
Is that true?
Yes.
Christine,
yes.
Good work.
Yes. So we've been like busting out these. Then
how many do you have in the bank?
This is the 11th.
Wow.
Ready.
So, and then once you get to X number, then what will the scheduling be like?
I think our plan is, don't hold us to this, all of our 25 listeners, but our plan is, I think, now we have so many, we'll get through the summer and then we'll start recording again in the fall. Listen, you cannot control Elizabeth Gomez in the summer. You cannot put her on a fucking schedule on a Chicago summer and be like, you have to be somewhere every Sunday. That's never happening. No.
And also, I would say, in Chicago, patio drinking season is very short. We can discuss that a little bit
He's
later.
Probably going to tell it. Danny will tell us about it.
Yes.
Do you make the most money in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, now that we have big patios at Scofflaw and Moonlighter specifically. But, Scofflaw is a little trickier because it's really busy in the winter as well. Because
that's
when
I went on a date there,
but yeah, just in terms of sheer volume, I guess, you're able to make more money with more seats. So.
Let me ask you this. Now that you've been on this pod, right? I know we haven't gotten to the meat of it yet. But now
the pod is over.
Now that you've been here, if I want to come over to your bar, I can just drop your name now, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Just
anytime.
be like, we're friends.
And they're like, here's your bill. And you're like, nope, Danny says he's got it.
Wow, I wasn't even going that far. I just thought I was going to be able to get a seat. Because last time I was there, they were like, no.
That place is, you got to be
there.
They
were
right
like, you have an hour timeline at this table. I was like, geez, all right. Get out.
I think what I
that's
heard
all from the pandemic.
That's true. It was pandemic adjacent. And listen, that date didn't need more than an hour.
You're relieved.
Hey, was this with the dad?
They're all dads. You got to beware. There's a lot of divorced dads out there. And listen, I'm divorced from a dad.
We're going to talk about divorces today.
I'm looking for the divorced wives, to be honest. They can join my Golden Girls coven. The divorced dads are like, no. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong at my dating show at Scofflaw.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I did. I mean, I don't think I'm still watching SVU like a maniac. My husband and Danny
Mike,
are good friends.
Oh,
and Mike has been on
monthly dinner date. Usually.
Wow, what?
I know. And Danny and Mike,
you
Mike
guys must be very good friends because Mike doesn't like to go places.
Yeah.
But he did the podcast. But anyways, he has really. He's annoyed with me all the time because I'm watching SVU, because he'll be like, do not watch it. We're not watching it. And then I'll go off to a corner and start watching it. And then he'll be like, iced tea.
You're like, no, I'm watching him in something else. Right? It's not SVU.
He gets sucked in immediately because anytime he sees iced tea or Munch, he's like, I'm in.
Yeah, he's full committed.
Wait, you also started a passive board game. Your life, wow, it's very... It's very...
What's the passive board game?
So I set up Wingspan. I don't know if Mike has talked to you about his bird-loving, watching person. He has officially become a grandpa.
Yeah.
Patio furniture.
Yes.
Wingspan. SVU.
So we put Wingspan on the table. We've set it up on the table so that each of us could make moves when we pass the table. Each of us will take moves. And he came up with this idea that we would use this rubber duck to indicate which side of the table, so you would know who's got the next move.
Right. That's very smart.
And I was like, I don't even know where you got this rubber duck, but I'm so thrilled.
That's great. Wait, so who's winning right now?
He hasn't made his first move. He's been thinking. He told me
you're
he needed
telling
to think
me
about it.
that you guys set up the fucking passive board game and no one made a move? This is how passive the passive board game has become?
I think it's because he's very serious about the game. He's like, I got to study these birds. I got to figure this out. It's more. The story is more boring than Cocktail the movie.
No, anything to keep the marriage spicy and interesting.
Yeah.
I suggested another girlfriend. I felt like that would have been better. But okay, so we are cocktailing. The movie opens up with Tom Cruise. He's getting out of the military. He goes to New York. He goes to see his uncle.
By the way,
at a bar, Pat's Bar.
The pulling over of the bus. Imagine if you were on a Greyhound bus and you had like, you needed to be somewhere at a certain time on a schedule. And the bus driver's like, hold on a second.
Oh shit, we got all these
like
military
thinking they're
bros.
about to get like pulled over for some actual infraction. And then it's just like, we got to get this guy, our buddy, onto the bus.
First of all, he's in the military, so show some respect.
Yes. Also, he's Tom Cruise. Show some respect.
Can we also real quickly just talk about how cute Tom Cruise is?
He's very handsome
doll.
in it.
Yes. He's so cute.
Yes.
There was like a movie he made where he's like in Pittsburgh before that.
Was it The Last Samurai?
Where he's
where no one was like, why isn't he Asian?
Right.
An entire culture like never questioned it.
He's the original Joanne. What's her name? The white girl who's always playing Asian ladies. People get upset. Scarlett Johansson.
Oh,
she's what Asian lady? Oh, because in like Marvel or something.
Yes, in some kind of like comic book.
Sorry, get it.
Yeah. No,
Sorry, Danny.
just,
you were saying
no, like when he's in The Outsiders or whatever those movies were before.
The Outsiders, a classic.
Yes.
I'm
Like,
adding it to our list now.
He's got like the look isn't as like refined.
Yeah.
It's like a little rougher, I would say. But in this, he's like a very polished, handsome Tom Cruise.
Yes, I would
that
also
smile.
Yeah.
Oof.
Adrian and I were talking about that because like he actually doesn't look like a movie star in this movie, but when he smiles, you're like, damn,
Yeah.
that guy's a star.
He's got the charisma.
One of my favorite things about this movie was people looking like fucking people.
Yes.
Like, I love it. You know, I look at Instagram all day. I can't help it. I'm looking at the fucking TV and I'm like, these people don't look like people.
And I definitely think Elizabeth Shue would be wearing veneers if she was like
let
now
people-
today.
Right.
Like those fake teeth.
I also thought that Gina Gershon's teeth looked like everyone's
Yes.
teeth looked wild.
Yes.
And
Like,
I was
let
like,
people
what is
have
happening?
their teeth.
Yeah.
Let people have their teeth.
And then it made me question everything I knew about teeth.
Yes. I'm with you because I should have also said this week, I got this very helpful meme about Vanderpump Rules that told me the episodes which to watch to like catch up with the Scandival. Do either of you understand any of the words I'm saying?
Carmen Jones got me
Not
like,
really.
hi Carmen out there, but she like she got me
Okay,
all
so you
caught
know
up.
what I'm saying. So
Yes.
the first episodes I watched were like 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and everybody's teeth had a full teeth evolution, and some of them
Weird.
shouldn't have
Yeah.
because it make your teeth bigger.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
like uniform and bigger. It's like a very
Yes.
specific aesthetic that
Yes.
didn't exist in 1988.
Yes.
Yeah, and then like when you get them, they have to like shave
Yeah,
all your
to,
teeth.
like
Yes, they
post.
post.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's gnarly.
It's so
Yeah, it's so
scary.
creepy,
Do not
yeah.
like it.
Because then what do you
I
do
do
when you
not
need
like
a
it.
root canal or like something happens and you just have to get implants and everything?
Listen,
Yeah,
we gotta
it's
reach
crazy.
out to Darcy and Stacy on this one.
Okay. Anyway.
All right, so
Back
he's-
to Cocktail.
Right, back to Cocktail. So then we find Tom Cruise. He's like back in New York.
Yes.
He's talking to his uncle. They're working in the bar that his uncle owns,
His
and then
extremely cheap, frugal uncle.
Yes. Who won't even let him have a beer.
Right.
Yeah.
And
He's
he's
like, that's $1.
he's reading.
It was
He's,
a Coors Light.
he's reading a ton of books on entrepreneurship and like businesses because
That
he
was
loves
kind of
businessy
sweet.
business.
He's trying to
Yes.
get a job in Wall Street.
Yeah.
but cannot.
No.
So then where does he
He's
end
no
up?
Michael Douglas.
He ends up at TGI Fridays.
I loved that.
Yeah, it was it's like it's a classic bar.
So he meets Doug Coughlin, who is like the old grouchy man who's like working there. And Tom is like, my dad.
Wait,
my-
are you guys telling me this was legit a TGI Friday?
Yeah.
Yes, there's a scene like
It shows
once
that
he
it's
starts.
a TGI
yeah,
Fridays.
when
That's the bar that they're making cool?
Yeah.
yes,
Well, TGI.
I told you I was on edibles.
I would think that it would.
They
make
were
you
like a
nervous.
pioneer in cocktails, as strange as it is to like talk about it in the context of
tell
today.
us.
I want to know more.
No, it just like they had a like the mudslides from TGI Fridays. That's why they sell their packaged mudslides. I think they came up with a lot of these drinks that made cocktailing fun. But that was like
Yes.
the era of fun cocktails, not necessarily balanced cocktails.
Right.
And so it plays into this movie very well.
Right.
I love that you have this knowledge.
No, it was just like, yeah.
Apparently, it was before they started wearing the flare
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
their suspenders because
Well,
they
there-
didn't have any flare.
no.
There
And
weren't a lot. Maybe it was like, I don't know when there became a bunch of them.
Right, when
Yeah.
it got franchised.
Yeah.
Then Doug is like, Tom, have you any experience in this? And Tom's name's Brian Flannery or whatever
Yeah.
it is. And Brian's like, oh yeah, my uncle's in the business. And then Doug's
you
like,
can't
hired.
handle.
Yeah, I know.
No, first he's
yeah.
like, you can't handle bartending. Yeah. Have you ever had to work this hard?
Yeah, and
He
he's
was
like,
in the military.
I was just thinking though, like, Is it like, does he get hired so easily because Doug thinks that Brian's an attractive man? Like,
I
it's
hope.
gonna be good for business.
Who wouldn't hire this guy to do fucking anything he wants to do?
Because he's so bad, he like fails the stage or the first night. He does an awful job.
Yes.
And Doug is like super cool about it.
Yeah. Well, and Doug's kind of hazing him.
He was trial by fire.
Right,
I guess,
hazing him.
but he didn't succeed. It was like a trial by fire that he failed.
Yes, but he knew he was a quick learner. You know, now that you've brought this up, it becomes very unrealistic that, you know, this attractive white man didn't get a job on Wall Street. Why were they sending him away?
I know every interview he's like, I did this, and they're like, nope, like your resume sucks or whatever they keep
he's
saying
a fucking veteran. He's hot. He's white. They weren't just like, sure, fuck it.
I know, it's so
But in
bizarre.
the world of bartending, you can get a job because your uncle's in the business.
Right. Right.
Yeah, my uncle has a dive bar. Oh,
Right.
cool.
Okay, well, you're hired.
Well, fine. And he picks it up quick.
Yes,
he picks it up quick.
He starts to get better and better at it. And during this time, he's going to college because he's trying to be Mr. Businessman. And, you know, there's a whole thing where he has to do a whole bunch of assignments, blah, blah,
he's
blah, blah,
very
blah.
tired. He's bartending and fucking the ladies all night.
Yes.
And then he's got to go to community college and get hazed by business school assholes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he ends up failing school, but it's getting really great at bartending. And at this point, Doug and Brian have like a whole routine. So they're just like flipping cups, tossing bottles.
Flair bartending.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what that's called?
Yes. But the weirdest part and the craziest thing I learned in the research of Cocktail for today is that initially the movie had none of that Flair stuff written into it.
Oh, shit.
And
Did
that's, like,
Tom
such a
bring it himself?
I think like the guy who wrote it, Haywood Gould or whatever, he had bartended a long time before this movie gets made, blah, 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 blah. And then I guess like while they were thinking of trading like Tom Cruise and the other actor, Brian Brown. It's confusing because Brian is Tom's name in the movie. Anyways,
we just always call him Tom Cruise. That's fine.
So when they were training, like they added in a lot of that Flair stuff in that particular bar training.
Yeah.
That played such a significant role in the movie. I can't imagine what it would have been like without that stuff.
Right.
It would have been so much
even more boring.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be like, what is this film even about?
Yeah.
Because
so
the film
weird.
is two bartenders bartending.
Yeah,
It's like-
exactly.
I did text Elizabeth
weird is
mid-film and said, should we have picked Coyote Ugly?
Wait, so
Well, that's outside the 80s and 90s, I guess. But that's a good
It's
call.
true. It's still pretty retro.
Yeah, I would love to rewatch that.
You know
We'll
what?
have you
Next
back.
season,
We'll have you back.
because I added
That'd
it
be
to my
great.
list, and I'm going to say that you're coming back.
All right, thank you. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Is there a school of bartending choreography?
It's called Flair bartending.
Flair
You
bartending.
just
It's
told
like a
us.
big thing in Vegas.
You can go to Vegas and go to school for it.
I think so, and I'm pretty like there's
Elizabeth's
Flair
like,
stuff all over.
ding, ding.
I literally yesterday was like, should I live in Vegas? Like a random thought in my head.
It's also like strangely, it's a lot bigger outside of this country now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
you
like
see-
where? Like in Edinburgh?
Like like all over Europe. I feel like I mean I don't know.
They're just
specifics.
catching up to Tom.
One of them is called Nightjar. One of these cocktail bars somewhere. I forget where it is, but it's like they're doing like very, a lot of showy type of bartender stuff.
Well, Tom and Brian or Doug, Tom and Doug get
Just
really
pick a name for him.
I
We
know.
don't.
I got it. I'm gonna go with Doug.
care.
I'm gonna go with Doug.
Yeah.
So the two of them are like killing it in the bartending industry. And one day while they're out there like dancing and doing their thing, a guy walks in. He's like, "You're so talented. Come work for my bar." And the
Yes.
bar is called the Cell Block.
Yes.
Which is
That
like
is insane.
Yes.
name.
Is that foreshadowing for all the Ponzi scheme stuff?
Yeah, right.
And it's just like
It's
what-
very 80s too. It has like light blue, like neon lighting, and everything else is like silver.
Yes, and we end up in this packed bar at the Cell Block when some guy with a briefcase goes up the stairs in this like multi-level thing.
Oh my
and
gosh.
they shine a big spotlight, and he begins. he has
It's
a slam
outrageous.
poems,
Yeah. Oh.
and he does this like poem, and everyone goes nuts because when you're clubbing.
Yeah, you want to hear slam poetry from a white Wall Street dude.
I do.
Yes, and then after it, because
That's my king.
Yeah.
because Tom is so cool at this point, he jumps up on the bar and he comes up with an improvised slam poem.
Yeah, he's alphaing him, I guess.
He does.
He has to one up this random white dude.
So it's all very, very terrible. Everyone just trust us on this one. Then Gina Gershon shows up. She's like, I love you, Tom Cruise.
She has a lot of
take
teeth.
a picture.
Yeah, lots of teeth.
Yes.
Yeah, big smile, lots of teeth, very sexy.
Yep.
Fucks Tom Cruise.
Yep.
Good for her.
More like gets tickled really hard.
Oh my God. Thank you
And then
for
falls out of the
reminding,
bed.
because I texted her about that too. I was like, I don't want to have this sex ever.
Yeah, where you just get tickled to bits.
It was like a wrestling match between two brothers
Yes.
in 5th grade. And I was like, oh my God, I would like throw my back out. And then they fall off the bed. I think she falls off
and then their feet are like up in the air, and that's the end of that
another
scene.
kind of creepy thing I read was that Tom Cruise discovered that Gina Gershon was ticklish, and so in that scene is actually tickling her, and that's the edit. That's the
Was there
take they
any
used.
consent?
No
Do you
idea.
know?
Yeah.
And, it's 1988.
So like that,
I don't know if they care.
unsolicited tickling is what we see
Right. How does Gina Gershon feel about this today?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
a
know.
good
Well, we'll have
question.
to ask
Do
her.
you have an active Twitter account? Can you tweet at her? Neither of us really do.
I know social media is
No.
It's just a hard
I'm
thing.
on notes on Substack.
Your last post was 11 days ago, Adrian. I saw today.
Oh, shit.
So then Gina Gershon takes this picture. They all screw and whatever.
Wait,
and then,
you've left out the moment that these two bartenders
Yes, are playing basketball.
No, they have a dream that they could have a bar called Cocktails and
and
Dreams. And they draw a terrible picture of it, and they pin this picture to the wall
Of Tom Cruise's
mood
apartment.
board.
It's a vision board.
Yeah, vision board,
Cocktails
yeah.
and Dreams.
Yes.
Yes.
But Brian says to Tom Cruise, he's like, look, this girl, Gina Gershon, is going to like fuck you at the end of this situation. And this
Right.
is important because
Yes.
it heightens the scene to being the conflict, right? So they're in the cell block, and Tom Cruise is like,
The cell block.
he's like, there's no way that Coral or Gina Gershon's going to ever cheat on me. And then she ends up kissing Brian. Or
Right in front of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he does this whole thing to teach him, because he's like, you got to get you a rich woman who can buy you a bar.
yeah, which-
that's his plan.
Yeah, so much does not make any sense.
Wait, that wasn't your plan?
I thought that's how you got Scofflaw.
Yeah. Did you? You did
I thought
not
you just
have
fucked your way to the top, dude.
a rich woman. Didn't
That was
open,
the plan. Didn't work out.
Oh shit.
No, but like, why? Like, so Doug basically hooks up with her to like teach Tom a lesson,
Right.
And then she's pissed at Tom for basically telling Doug their business. Like, it's
Yeah.
very obvious that they had slept together. Like, they were making out in
Yes.
front of Brian or in
Yes.
front of Doug at the apartment. Like,
Right.
what happened? What was the
Yes.
mystery? What did he?
And Gina Gershon looks to be about 38.
It just makes
like
yeah.
she doesn't look to be like a virginal person.
No, it
who
just
would be
makes
like, "Oh my
no
God."
sense.
No,
And then-
zero
What is she
sense.
upset about?
Zero sense.
Then Tom like basically punches out Doug. They stop being friends. Now, what's
Yes.
important to know is that also what started this whole thing about Gina Gershon is that Gina Gershon had suggested that they all go to Jamaica and make money there.
Yeah, because they make $300 to
So
$400
much money.
a shift or something, and it's like,
Yeah.
dude, cell block is packed seemingly every night. How little are even if people are tipping like 5%, you're making way more than $300 or $400.
This is an amazing
What is
point.
going on?
Because Cell Block is fucking packed.
Yeah, it's packed.
Yeah, yes.
It's the hottest club
Unless
in
like
town.
the owner's like
Yes.
ripping their tips and they're
Yes.
getting nothing, which like why would they agree
Yeah,
to that?
and they can do slam poetry there.
it's insane.
Well, they get in a fight, so Tom flees to Jamaica
they should've-
to work an island bar.
It makes-
Aruba,
that has
Jamaica,
has much fewer people.
I wanna take ya.
You know when the Beach Boys come on, I'm in a great mood.
Yes.
It has fewer people than the cell block.
Right.
So much less.
They're tourists.
They basically
so-
have Elizabeth Shue and a couple of like random.
and an old lady to
Right.
fuck.
So
Yeah.
then Tom Cruise is now like working at this resort, and he meets Elizabeth Shue because she's like, "Oh my God, my friend is
Yeah,
passed
but-
out on the
yeah.
beach." He flips over the bar, runs and helps the woman.
Let's skip all this.
Right.
It doesn't
So
even matter.
they're like into each other. So Elizabeth Shue shows up at the bar, and then also who else shows up 3 years later at this resort?
He was
Yeah.
bartending for 3
Yeah.
years
Yeah, they
in
had
Jamaica.
spoken-
Yeah, it was
3
like 2
years.
years or 3
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Like that.
Wow, Tom.
Yes, and so Doug shows up,
I
and
know.
Doug is
They
like,
didn't really make him all wizened or anything. It
No.
seemed like he had just gotten there
He
and
still
was
had
shocked.
a hustler's manual behind
Yeah,
the bar
and
of
he was
trying to be a successful millionaire or whatever.
Yeah, and he was like shocked he could fuck Elizabeth Shue. If you had been in Jamaica
Yeah.
as the hot tourist bartender, you're that hot, you've been fucking everywhere.
I would have
Yeah.
assumed that
There's
he
probably
would
the
have had
sixth Elizabeth Shue that he slept with.
The 60th.
I definitely think that his dick probably would have had scales at that point.
Yes.
You know, things would have not been
Yes.
right.
Speaking of, how about when Doug tells Tom Cruise in the beginning, like, if you really think the servers are going to be pissed at you, wait till you give them all crabs.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
That was.
That was like, holy shit.
But isn't that the restaurant way?
Yeah, do you just
That
give
just,
crabs
like-
to
How many
everyone?
crabs have you given out?
Let me count. Yeah,
The restaurant world is the hospitality space is wild.
it's a crab hotbed.
I watch Vanderpump Rules now. I've seen it.
Yeah, there's a lot of Vanderpumping that goes on.
Everybody's fucking each other. Okay, can we just speed
Yes, but
through
this
this?
yes. So then,
Yeah.
so
Who
basically,
cares?
I'll go through it. So Doug shows up. He's like, "Look, I got married. I'm like married to this rich person.
I'm married to
you,
this
by the way,
heiress."
Tom, are a worker, not a hustler. You're never going to be a hustler. You're never going to make any money if you don't
Yeah.
fuck a rich woman."
Which again,
Yeah.
he's not a young. Doug is not young.
No.
Right.
It's taken him presumably 25 years to accomplish this feat. And he's trying to give Tom Cruise advice
Yes.
on like, this is how it works.
Right.
It's like,
Yes.
dude, you didn't do that for 25 years.
Right.
Yes.
So
And he-
you failed for much of your time. And now only recently
Yes.
have you gotten to this point.
Yes, and he also makes fun of him for being a good bartender and taking
Yeah.
it seriously.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like,
which
you
is
idiot
sort
with a
of
clean
hurtful.
bar.
Yes, it's
Like,
sort
what?
of hurtful.
I was very proud of Tom. I
Yeah.
was like, "This is a nice looking bar."
Yeah. I would drink at that
like,
bar.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. And like, you know, it's very important when you're like changing shifts that you leave the bar in a nice situation.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then Doug is like, I'm married, and now the romance starts. Elizabeth Shue and Tom Cruise have like a huge romance.
They're fucking in a
they're
waterfall.
Fucking
Yeah, you
everywhere.
gotta get nude in the waterfall.
Yes, that was a
Side
scene.
boob.
Yep.
Yep, she's obviously an artist because it's the 80s, and that's what all women
Obviously.
did.
Of course, yeah.
She draws
And-
a really bad caricature of
Yeah,
him.
it's so bad. I was like, what? I was like, is this a slam caricature?
slam caricature. And he's like, is
It
this
was
your
insane.
job? She's like, it's my passion. I'm actually a waitress at Jerry's Diner.
Yes. And then,
Insane.
then later on, Doug and Tom are talking, and Doug is like, "Oh, look, there's a rich lady. Like, you should go fuck her." And so he goes.
Well,
to
he
fuck
dares
her.
Well,
her.
he
He
dares
dares
him,
him.
and that the unbreakable rule of you have to follow through with a dare.
Yes.
What?
Yes. And he does it in front of there's other men participating.
and they're all just- yeah, they're
they
all
can
in on
shame
it.
him and
For $50.
And,
$50.
and you guys left out the most important part where he throws a lit match at this
Yep.
bitch.
Yeah. He's like, shh. Yeah, exactly.
So she
Can you
can
do that?
light her cigarette.
Are you able to do that?
No, yeah. I
Do you think he had a stunt coordinator for that? He
That
likes
was-
to do his own
How about
stunts.
when he goes over to her? She asks for, she doesn't ask for anything. He literally just makes her a drink,
Yes.
unsolicited.
A jus d'amour.
Je de
Yeah,
lève
jus d'amour. Yeah,
et-
exactly.
Yes.
It's like, what if she hates all those ingredients? Like, what a presumptuous thing to do. Just like make someone a random drink.
who is this nice man we have here?
That's insane. Like, what? Like, let me get a vodka soda. Cool. Let me make you this jus d'amour. You're like, what?
Wait, did you
I didn't
think
want
that
And he says it's the juice of love.
Did you think him making her an unsolicited drink was more offensive than him throwing a lit match at her?
I mean, they're both pretty rough.
They're not great.
And how did he even do it? I don't even. It was a match book. It was the whole book.
He flipped the one out,
Yeah.
lit it, and then just like spun it that way.
Yeah, but he did like a.
Yeah. Also, how would that match stay lit if it was flying through the air?
It's a lot of questions.
Listen, it's the magic of movies.
But it's a real
It's the
panty
magic of
dropper
movies.
because
Yes.
she drops her panties. Elizabeth Shue sees that he's
Yeah.
going to fuck this girl. She's like, oh! She goes and sits at the ocean. Not even a full tear.
Yeah, I know. A little
Just
tiny-
a moisture, but not a full
It
tear.
was like the old 80s commercials with the Native American who's dancing in
Oh.
the garbage. Just a one single tear.
But
All
it
right.
was just like a little
Yeah, it was
wetness.
just a little.
Yes.
Yeah.
No
so
Oscar
she
for
flies
Elizabeth.
off, and Tom Cruise meets up with Doug later, and he's like, "She's gone." And
Well, because he's like, you got to come start this bar with me.
That's correct.
That my rich
Doug
old
is.
lady is going to fucking fund.
Yeah.
right, and he's like, "No way, Bonnie, this rich lady that I fucked is going to let me come to New York and become like a really businessy businessman."
Yeah, a salesperson.
Yes.
Right.
For fashion, I
Yeah,
think it's like
it
a
makes
fashion
no sense,
industry.
but yeah.
Listen,
So-
there's money there.
Doug is like, well, look, if you think that you're going to ever make anything of yourself, then that's cool. But I'm going to bet you $500 in a cognac.
So much betting.
Yeah,
Man.
Louis try.
Right. He's like that you're going to ask me for a job by the end of this. So then we're back in New York. Now we're in New York. It does not go well with Bonnie. It's a big scene.
She married.
No, but she uses
There's
him.
a dude.
Yeah, she's like fucking around with him, and she treats him like trash, and she doesn't do anything for him.
And that's the first sculpture that gets ruined in the movie. At the art
Then
show.
we end up at the art show with Bonnie and Tom, and like the sculptor's like flirting with Bonnie. Tom loses his shit. They get into a big fight. That's the end of it. And
my wife is, well, we'll talk later. It's so funny. I didn't even notice it.
yeah. So then he's like, oh, I have to go find Elizabeth's shoe. So he goes to find Elizabeth's shoe. She's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And then she pours
the
food on his
diner.
head. Yes. Because
she pours
she's
the
like,
special
Two
on his
specials,
head.
Yes.
Yeah. It was like the cream chicken.
And then he goes, don't get the special.
Yeah. That's correct.
that I wish
Or
we had a
whatever
clip
he
of
said.
Danny's
Yeah.
face. He did that so
Yeah.
perfectly.
We'll get one after. Well, I have an app on my phone that makes GIFs, so you could do it.
I don't even know if that's what he says. But it's like
no,
He is
something
what
like
he
that.
says.
It's like
And
something
it's
so
like-
stupid.
They're at like the Seinfeld diner.
Yeah,
Yes.
You
exactly.
know? Yeah.
So Elizabeth Shue's still pissed, and she's like,
Yes.
fuck you and fuck this. And then she gets off of shift, and there's Tom Cruise on his knees pretending to be a short blind person.
Yeah. Yeah. Begging for her money.
begging.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
she's like, paydays on Monday, whatever. It's like,
so they go back to her apartment, and she's basically like, why the fuck did you do this? And he's like, because rich ladies are going to give me bars, so I was gonna fuck this lady.
Her paintings are
yeah.
everywhere.
Oh my God.
It's
There's
a loft
large
apartment.
painting
No, yeah,
of a waterfall.
He tells the like, I was dared to do it, so obviously I did it.
Right.
And you're like, what?
Yeah. And he says to her, is this our waterfall? Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
And then she's like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? Why is this movie happening? Like,
Right.
this is like
It gets
the
worse, though. It
storyline
gets
we
worse.
do not
Yeah.
need. We need to speed this up.
Right.
This,
Because
nothing happens in
let
this
me
movie.
finish. So then she's like, I'm pregnant. He's like, is it mine?
Yeah,
She's
she
like,
gets
I had to
mad.
ask.
Right.
She gets mad.
So she gets mad at him because she doesn't like his morals. He gets taken off. He goes to Doug's party. He finds Doug, and Doug is now like in the dumps. He's like, I lost all my money, but I still have this great boat.
he made a lot of bad decisions
He sure
about
did.
his bar.
Margin calls.
He didn't know about taxes. He didn't know about insurance.
Building
He,
inspection.
he knew
No.
nothing about running a business.
Wow. Yeah. The
But he
things
did know how to
listed.
be sleazy.
The things he listed, I was like, you didn't know about insurance? You're
Yeah,
like
it was
75
wild.
years old.
Exactly. It's like you never thought to ask at any point. Yeah.
So Doug's wife comes onto the boat that they're on, and she's like, Doug, I want to go home. He passes out.
He's like, I'm too drunk.
Right. And then Tom Cruise takes her home, and she tries to seduce him. Tom Cruise is offended and is like, I can't fuck my best friend's wife. Leaves to go back to Doug.
She was
And
really
what
a polyamory, like,
Yeah.
pioneer.
Yeah, she was-
She's like making out with the dude over
Yeah.
here on the balcony.
Yeah.
And we saw her
Doug
ass
over
on the
here.
original boat
Yes.
in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Because
It's
she
a
comes
nice
down.
ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking A. That's like
Yeah.
those 80s like skinny bodies.
Yeah.
But we go back to the boat, and Tom comes in.
This part.
And Doug is dead.
Yep.
He has committed suicide.
Let me say what happens next.
Yeah.
Let me say this. Okay, he comes into the boat. There's blood all over the table. And so Tom Cruise does what any normal person would do. He walks over to the blood. He places both hands directly in it like finger paint, picks them up, looks at both of his hands, and he goes, help me! Help! Somebody help! I'm like, who puts their fucking hands in the crime scene?
Well, and Doug's face is like on the table.
Right, he doesn't
There's
go
all
to
this broken
He does not
glass.
go to help him. He literally just puts his hands in the blood and then looks at his hands and is like,
Another strange question related to that. It's like he had a note, so clearly we have to
Yes.
assume it was suicide. In what way are you committing suicide that leaves behind a trail of broken glass? Like,
know.
did he
He
break the
must-
glass into his neck?
well, he must
That's
have
what I
broken the
thought.
glass and then like used it. Right?
I thought he
I
used
guess,
it
but
across
why
his
would it-
neck. I agree with Danny because
Or
they
whatever.
show his head
Yeah,
on
it's
the
like
table.
so, but it's just either way, like how bizarre of a method is that?
I thought he was murdered.
Yeah. Like,
Like,
it was the debt collectors.
I was
don't
like,
know.
oh, there's been a murder,
Yeah.
and then it got even weirder because it was not a murder.
I know. Well, it should have been like the debt collectors, like whatever.
Fucking
but-
Tony Soprano showed
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
Yeah, and then Tom Cruise finds out that it was suicide for sure because
Yes.
he gets
He writes
delivered
him
a
a
letter
That
which
has
is
a
like,
ha 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 in it. That's not written.
Yes, I noticed that too because it's red and
He's
voiceover.
like, you know what I'm talking about.
It's red and voiceover.
And I'm like, does it say a laugh that's like a specific length of time?
Yes.
It's so weird.
I was like, that's a choice.
I texted Adrian and I was like, they literally just put a suicide in this movie so that these two can reunite the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Which seems like a very 80s thing. We saw that in Dead Poets Society.
That's true. Yeah.
Like they were definitely throwing around the suicides in the 80s.
So now Tom Cruise runs back, finds Jordan at her parents' house, and there's been this whole thing about him, and he gets into a fist fight with the security guard, the butler.
We left out a whole part that Jordan is secretly very rich.
Yep.
Yes.
She's Shiv Roy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love the first time that he goes to the apartment and the father's trying to buy him off with that check. And Tom Cruise, to prove that he doesn't care about money, rips up a $10K check. It's like, dude, that doesn't really prove much. If the check was for like $1 million and you ripped it up, then I think people would be on board.
Though with
the
inflation,
10K check,
how much money are we talking
it's probably
about?
like $40K.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, but like...
But that level of rich.
And you get to
have a butler,
exactly.
when you're butler
They
rich,
can write
that's
$1 million
different type of
check.
thing.
It's true, but then you also get to not have to fuck with this baby.
Yeah, well,
You get the money and you get to get out.
Well, Tom ends up marrying Jordan.
He thinks maybe he loves her.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and she gets the luxury of getting to sit at the fucking bar, pregnant as shit, while he does more slam poetry. Kill me right now.
We see the whole wedding. She's been disowned, and she basically then at that point whispers something into his ear about spooking him, and he was like, "What? They're twins?"
Yeah.
And then the movie ends. It is
awful.
so weird.
It is so weird.
It was awful.
It was awful. We will never get that time back.
What's even sadder is we've watched it all twice.
You know
Like,
what?
all of us have seen it at least twice.
Yeah,
We have
that's right.
seen worse movies for
Yeah.
sure, but like this movie definitely wants to say something about like working class versus, I don't know what it wants to say
It was
because
like a
doesn't
send up
really
of
know.
80s excess in some ways, but not like fully.
Right, like it doesn't really know what it's saying about
I think
being
that's-
working class versus
exactly.
wanting to have the American dream or like climbing the ladder.
Yeah.
Trying to dig into this film was very hard. I was like, what am I going to discuss? And so then I went straight with, Danny, why don't you just tell us how you got into the bar business?
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes.
I love
let's
personal
know.
stories.
Yes.
I want to hear it.
Yes.
I want to know.
And you know what? Maybe this could help Tom Cruise. Because he like
Tom Cruise definitely needs Danny's advice on success.
Yeah. Tell us how you got into the bar business.
Great question. I came to do comedy writing at Second City. And
Wait, you came to Chicago?
Yes.
From where?
I'm from Los Angeles. I went to school in Virginia, and then I was trying to like kind of figure my life out. So I spent
Where
some
in
time
Virginia?
in Richmond.
Oh, that's where I'm from.
Yeah. I think we've talked about it.
We have.
Yeah.
Probably
too
at
many
the bar.
gimlets.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, so
Christina's hot in here.
Menopause.
yeah, the heat is coming up. I came to do comedy writing at Second City and then started like bar backing to make some money while I was taking comedy writing classes, which were not paying my bills. And
what?
Comedy pays big when you're totally unknown. I was bar backing and then I started bartending. I took like some spirit education classes with a liquor distributor, blah, 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 blah. Met my future business partners and we kind of were in touch. And then I started bartending under Paul McGee at the Whistler. Very interested in being just like Paul, learning.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know where he is now. I don't think
he's in New York now.
Okay. I was like, he was great.
Yeah, he is great. So I like basically like apprenticed under him for a period of time, like a year. And then at the end of that year, my friends from the spirit education class, they had the opportunity to buy Street Side, which was the bar that existed before Scofflaw. So basically we all bought it together. There were 4 of us, and that's how we started Scofflaw Group.
Did you have a business book like Tom? But seriously, how did you know because I will tell you, we're trying to have our own little podcast business.
Yeah.
And anytime we're like, We were like, should we have a checking account or should we just use one of our Venmos to hold our money in? And we won't ever use it personally anymore. It'll just be our business account. So how do you do it?
It's so struggling.
No, I mean,
like how did you know? Like, how did you know that this was the right move for you?
Well, that's a good question. I didn't. Luckily, my 3 partners knew a lot more than I did, especially when it came to the business side of things. So.
Oh, you were the Doug.
Yeah, I was the Doug.
I knew he knew insurance.
You were like,
no, I was the drink guy, and they were more of the business and like operations and how things were like supposed to be set up, insurance, all sorts of things that I would never have known. So luckily, they kind of gave me a crash course in all that stuff. I mean, so it's just luck, I would say. So I guess I never really, like I didn't have to learn it the traditional way.
Oh, look, another man who just
lucked into
just
it.
got into it.
Fell up.
Yeah,
well, that must be nice. No big deal, everyone.
Wait,
I'm just successful.
No, but Mandy, one of my partners, a woman, she like knew the most about all of like how the business was supposed to be set
she
up.
pulled the wagon for all
this
these.
Is really checking out.
Wow. Digging this a little deeper. Just trying to shine the spotlight on Mandy, being a partner that is not a white male. But yeah.
Wait, so did you design all the cocktails? That was your vibe?
That was, my expertise.
Yeah. Nice.
Was that stuff. I just watched Cocktail a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I was going to say, where'd you get a flair school?
I memerized that one speech, the rhyming slam poetry, and then I
just
use
make
that every
up some
night.
weird names and you're like, that's a drink.
Yeah. I think though, I mean, a lot of the learning came from when we bought Street Side. We ran it as Street Side for a period of time, and it was very bleak. And I think that we kind of figured out what we wanted to do based on that tough experience when we'd have like 2 guests come in all night and $5 in tips. There was like a very bleak period after we bought it where we're like, what did we do? Like, we really have to turn this into something different. And so that kind of like jump started the move into Scofflaw. But we didn't really know when we bought it when that would happen.
When you were doing this, when you were like trying to get on your feet with the business, what were some mistakes you made that you feel like, looking back, you'd be like Tom Cruise?
Yeah. Tons of mistakes.
Don't do these things.
No, yeah. I had like temper tantrums. I was like a brat because I felt like a lot of pressure. So I like took it out on people in strange ways that
Mandy.
I shouldn't have. Yeah, not necessarily on my partners, but just like the way I trained people was probably not ideal.
Oh, because you wanted them to make your cocktails exactly how you make them.
I think I was just like very uptight about everything, and so everything felt more important than it was. And I think as I've gotten a little bit older, it's like you kind of accept that things aren't going to be exactly the way you want them 100% of the time, and that there's like some margin of error that you just have to live with, unless you want to be at the business 100% of the time.
But
which
that's
is
like
not tenable.
That's like not the way I feel like we've been taught, right? To be like, it's cool, like it's
it's
chill
not,
if they fuck us up. I mean, like, I'm
there's a
watching
range.
Top Chef, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
fucking Tom's walking around looking at people.
Yeah.
Like the vibe in kitchens is not like, if you make there's a margin in error.
No, yeah,
it's
exactly.
fine.
Yeah. I think it's like a range though, right? It's like
Right.
if someone like omitted a base spirit from a cocktail, that would be unforgivable. If someone just is served a non-alcoholic drink by accident.
Right.
But
Or
if
an
someone like
alcoholic.
someone like shakes a drink for a second too long or a second too little, that sort of stuff.
Oh shit! Did you have that shit timed?
No, I mean you just like taste things and you feel like this is over diluted.
You should watch Danny work. He's pretty awesome.
He hasn't invited me to, but I would like to.
Let me ask you this:
Maybe
though,
at our show.
Yeah.
and talking about like temper tantrums and even like Top Chef, it's like I feel like the one industry that doesn't seem to be getting any kind of Me Too movement, getting hardcore, is that we still, to this very day, accept people in the kitchen being assholes.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, I feel like things have changed.
Yeah, well, tell us about that.
And at least in our places, I feel like we're a lot more sensitive and receptive to feedback, changing the culture, whatever needs to be done. But ultimately, it just comes down to like hiring the right people. And like, I don't want to, if I don't, like, there's no need for me to micromanage a bartender. What's important is that they are trained to care, and then that you just trust them to do it, and you show them that you trust them, and then ideally, they do a great job. I think before it was like I was way more micromanagey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like none of our chefs like scream or, you know, the stuff that I grew up with in the industry, I don't see anymore. I'm sure it still happens. Like you read about it constantly.
All the time. You're like, this guy's abused this person. This guy's, you know, like it's constantly happening. And I'm just surprised that there haven't been a lot of like chefs dragged out in front
there
of
was Gwyneth Paltrow's friend. The big fat.
Mario Batali.
Yeah.
I was going to bring up Batali.
He's one out of like how many versus like the number of.
Well, I think he messed with the ladies, so that was different, right? But like most chefs, according to my knowledge of Top Chef, which is really where my base knowledge of this comes from, right? Like it's a pretty like insular community, right? Like if you speak out against someone, then
you might worry that. I mean, especially in those like higher echelon kitchens, like where you're going into the Michelin star world.
Yeah,
they probably talk to one another, and maybe they could like ice you out of the industry. But for our stuff, like that doesn't. I mean, we have people like all the time who like just no call, no show or whatever, and I'm sure they go on to work somewhere else. Like
at Scofflaw.
Yeah, no, I mean, people do like we don't have a way of.
Well, I never did that at the Cracker Barrel.
Tell us the story where you realized that you were an asshole.
Oh shit!
Like tell us.
I'll tell you one story.
Well, because usually there's a moment, right? Yeah. Like you can usually pinpoint these moments of change.
Sure. I have a couple moments, I guess. But one of them, which was going to be related
to
like,
the best one.
Things that you learn, mistakes you make. Like in the beginning, you're like, you know, you have friends that want to work with you, and you're like, of course, like you're my friend, love that, sounds great. But managing friends is not great, and we've all learned that lesson, all of us partners. But yeah, one of the people that we hired was like a friend before working for us, and then one night I was riding him a little bit hard about something cocktail related, I'm sure, a drink taking too long or him slamming like a bottle into the rail, making a loud noise, whatever. And he was like, he basically turned to me and was like, I forget what he said, but he's either like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, or like, or he's like, if you don't fucking stop, like I'm gonna, or something like that. So that was one moment where I was like, all right, I should back off. And another moment was something got messed up, like a syrup was made incorrectly, and it was like a giant amount, so I knew it was like a loss of money, it was like time, it was annoying. And I had I had a bowl of spent fruit in my hand, so like all the fruit that got peeled, like you take it downstairs and you get new fruit and replace it. So I think I had like an orange that had been peeled in my hand, and I went down the stairs after realizing this error that someone else had made, and I was really angry. And so I turned and faced the wall of our stairwell, and I threw this orange against this wall as like hard as I could. It exploded. And then I was like, great, now I have to like clean this. You know, it was like me cleaning up like bits of orange, and like it
you
exploded
didn't call
into like
someone
employees.
Down to do it?
No, it like exploded into like employees' jackets and stuff.
Oh my god, well, that wasn't nice.
No, so I had to like spend. That was like an immediate karma situation.
You seem like such a nice, chill person. To be honest, it's sort of hard to imagine you fucking going downstairs throwing things.
Yeah, just slamming oranges all over the place.
Yeah, but I don't think,
damn with the syrup.
Yeah, they were more like, I don't think I did anything. I mean, someone could reach out and tell us, I guess.
Oh, yeah, in the comments.
Yeah,
in the comments.
I don't think I did anything like particularly like that I'm super ashamed of in terms of like being a bad employer, but those things were not cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but it's
like
a lot
range,
it's a lot of pressure to like, you know, own a business and be in charge of people's livelihoods. And like, I'm sure the pandemic was not amazing.
Yeah, I did not handle the early pressure well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you got older, you're just like, your feelings were just like, this doesn't work. Because it doesn't really solve anything, right? It doesn't make people better.
I think I'm just
bartenders.
I kind of establish a little more distance. I try not to live and die with every, you know, mismade drink that might go out or.
It probably helps once you're successful.
No,
like people like your spots. Like you attract cool people, and people like to go there. So it probably helps to be like, we've reached, you know, some pinnacle, and now maybe I don't have to throw the oranges.
No, yeah, I mean the teams are the ones doing like a great job now, and I think we're just like supervising everything and, you know, letting everyone else shine in the company and.
What is your favorite thing about like being a bartender? Or, like, do you miss like the days where you were kind of bar backing versus like being a boss?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I romanticize my days at the Whistler in the early days of Scofflaw.
So fun. We used to hang out there a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, great getting to like meet you guys. And I mean, having, friendships blossom, if you will. And then, like spending time with regulars outside of work, like it very rarely works out the way it did like in our friend group.
Yeah.
But I think like making those connections is pretty significant, or just being a part of someone's, their first date and they end up getting married. Like people have their engagement photos.
Is that an attack?
I thought Danny was going to be like, the best part is having money in my pocket.
I would think that would be the best part.
What were some of your favorite bars that you worked at when you were coming up?
Yeah, the Whistler. I mean, Perennial and the Whistler were like the main bars where I learned how to do the job, I guess. And then, I really hadn't worked in many places. Like before we opened Scofflaw, it was really fast. And I was really fortunate to meet the people I did. And they were in the position to, like, they knew the people selling the business, and it kind of all fell into place. But that story happens a billion times all the time. It happens all the time. Like it doesn't work out. Like where someone's like, hey, like we should start this thing. Like I've got this lead on this, and it like totally falls apart. Or you pursue so many of those before it might work out, and it just one of the first ones like just worked out. But that's lucky. I mean, really.
Yeah, I mean that's we talk about like how you can always do your best to do something, and then you can still always fall short. Like it's
100%.
So frustrating.
Yeah,
but of course for you it worked out fine.
Wait, do you have children?
2 kids. Yeah.
How old are your children?
5 and 2.
Oh shit, they're little.
They're little. Because we had one during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, but Ruby was during the pandemic. Yeah. 2020.
That's wild. I actually wanted to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Because, we see that Tom Cruise and Elizabeth Shue are about to start a family, and they've decided to get married.
Oh, like how practical is it?
Well, I guess like my question is, Adrian and I are women who've had children and a marriage, and both are no longer in marriage. Well, those marriages, right? Like we were like, something obviously failed us in that world.
Yeah.
So what do you think, like when this the tape plays out, we're like 2 years later with Tom Cruise and Elizabeth Shue?
What do I think the situation is? I mean, I feel like our instinct is to probably be optimistic, but I don't know. I mean, I don't want to like...
Adrian's like, absolutely not.
Listen, the shine of the pregnant in the bar slam poetry watching Tom Cruise has worn... He's very cute, but he also requires a lot of attention, like many bartenders. I don't know if you feel that way, but I definitely
for sure.
am
that was a thought that I had was like... and this might be TMI, but I just feel like sharing with you guys.
Please do.
So, I mean, a reason I feel like when you're in a serious relationship, it's just not great to be behind a bar a lot.
Of course not.
Because there's just a lot of like temptation, and you kind of like just get like jaded. It's just like a weird dynamic. You're like on the stage and you're kind of like in a weird power position over someone else, and it's just like it's very easy to abuse that, and there's like constant temptation. So I'm just happy to not be in that situation all the time.
Yes, and I'm
That's
sure
just
your
knowing
wife
that about
doesn't want
myself.
to be pregnant in a bar.
Yeah.
She was so pregnant.
So I think Tom Cruise, I guess, being maybe realistic, like
no, they're definitely not together. Are you being serious?
He would just like he would immediately like hook up with some new person.
Yes.
2 years 100%. Into this, she's got a baby on her hip, another one in her belly, and he's just like, fuck this.
Yes,
he's out because he just needs too much.
He wants a lot of attention. And listen, when you're that cute, like you're gonna fucking get it.
Yeah. So did you have a lot of romantic stories?
It sounds like yes.
Of which you'd like to share with us here on this podcast?
Probably not to
Late
share.
Night Whistler.
I know, the low lights, the like jazzy music.
Lock up the door, but you can stay.
Yeah, no, it's just the industry is, just like that.
Right. They give everybody gives each other crabs.
Yeah, you just pass crabs around.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten
pull quote? You just pass crabs
and been like, "Oh my God, Doug gave this to me."
I'm like, it originated with Brian Brown. from the movie Cocktail, and it got all the way to me somehow 20-something years later.
Do you think that that's also why when you met your wife, because you guys didn't meet, did you guys meet at the bar?
Yeah, we met at Scofflaw, but we didn't start seeing each other till like a year later.
Yeah. And then do you think that you not being behind the bar helps the marriage stay
for sure.
together?
But to be honest, like the first 2 years of our relationship, I was behind the bar like 4 nights a week.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah,
that was definitely like I don't know. It was like a tough transition, really. Like to go from being single and to be in a relationship with all the stuff going on.
What stuff, Danny?
Women throwing themselves at him.
Yeah,
what are you
like
not
getting? It's like being in that environment.
It's
like everyone's
about
going
attention.
out late night. Yeah, you have like an ego. You know, you're just like everyone. I don't know. Maybe I was more insecure than most. I don't know. But yeah, it's just like a weird.
He's just as charming as Tom Cruise.
No, it's just a weird dynamic.
Yeah,
it's not weird. I mean, I fully get it. I don't know why Elizabeth's acting confused.
No, I'm not confused. I'm trying to invite Danny to tell us some more.
I was
stories.
Like, let me.
They're not like cool. Yes. They're like the most boring ass stories ever.
So we record this podcast a lot of times. Today's a Thursday, but a lot of times on Sunday.
Yeah.
And right after we go get lunch, and we go lately, she's like, "Let's go down to this bar, enjoy." And I'm like, "Okay," because they have cheese curds covered in Cheez-Its.
Yes.
Which, you know, I'm like, cool, we'll do it. But then this one day, there was a new bartender, and he like came to our table, and I'm just like sitting there. Face. And Elizabeth is like working this bartender, and he's working her. I'm like, it is fucking like 11:45 in the morning, and they're having this whole like this whole thing is happening, and
a lot of flirting.
It goes on, and I'm just like, all right, fine, whatever, you know. And it's as if I'm not even there. Again, that's fine. I've been out with Elizabeth. This can happen. But anyway, we most recently, when we go last weekend, was it last weekend? 2 weekends ago?
I don't know.
Well, the last time we went, this guy is there again. They immediately pick up where they left off. She gives him his drink order, and he walks away. And I was just like, can I get a drink or no?
And
the answer was like, no. So I do not know why she is acting as if she does not understand what people do with bartenders.
Oh, right. I just thought Danny would have a good story for us.
Well, he does.
But I get it.
He doesn't want all our listeners.
He's a more mature man
he's
now.
Married, he has children.
Yes, I get it. You know,
well, they're not cool. It's like, yeah, you have like a fling with someone. You have like a one-night stand. It's not meaningful. You like rinse, repeat.
Yeah. But sometimes those stories end up being really funny. Like one time a guy followed me to my house and then paid me a lot of money to walk him around my bedroom. He's a dog. Yeah, that's a story.
Did you have a
later.
rope? Did you?
No, he asked me.
That's a great story.
He asked me for. So I was bartending.
Yeah.
At the Casbah Go-Go.
Yeah.
Yes, in Whittier, California, which is no longer there. But it was like an old school like lingerie bar basically. So I would wear like lingerie and I would serve beer. I mean, it wasn't that fancy. I was not doing any kind of flair bartending.
Yeah.
You didn't need to. You had your tits out.
Yeah, my tits out.
That is
flair
the flair.
Walking around, yeah. Flair walking.
So when I was working there, this guy came in. He really liked me, and like he did these weird things. Like he once brought me a plant, another time he brought me another gift. I don't know.
Wait, he brought you a plant?
Yeah, just like things.
Like a snake plant?
Just I don't even remember, dude.
A pothos?
Yeah, just an orchid.
Yeah, I do.
It was a ghost
here's
orchid.
what I do remember. He like the last night that we were like hanging out, he brings me a thing of rotisserie chicken. Like he brought me dinner.
Wow.
Wait. In a Tupperware? Was it off the chicken?
It was like
a
he ordered
chicken?
It, brought it from like one of my favorite restaurants.
Oh, it didn't come from Costco.
Wow.
No. And it was super, I was like, this dude is so fucking weird. But also, I really wanted this chicken because I haven't eaten all day.
Yeah.
And she likes a fucking weirdo.
Yes, I love a weirdo. And then he was like, Elizabeth, can I walk you home afterwards? And I was like, absolutely not. And he was like, what if I paid you? And I was like, absolutely not. And he's like, look, your roommate works here and her boyfriend is here. So the two of you got, like, all three of us can walk and I will give you, I remember it was like $100 or $200 to walk you to their house.
Were you like, why do you want to pay me to walk to my house?
Well, I knew he had some kind of fetishes. Like I knew that was part of the deal.
Wait, well,
How'd
yeah,
you know that?
but were you like the fetish
because we had been talking, that's why he was bringing me gifts
so
and stuff.
He'd like mentioned fetishes before.
We're just talking and then like shit comes.
But wait.
Does Mike know this story?
I feel like why is this podcast now me? No, this podcast is supposed to be Danny.
No, it's not. But I have a real question. Now, was walk you to your house a euphemism?
This is the problem with having two podcast hosts here besides me.
But was it a euphemism for what was going to happen at your house? Because I'm taking it very literally.
He literally wanted to follow me because he thought that I was super hot, and
but
he wanted
follow
to,
you in a creepy way.
No, in a way that like made him.
He was
feel
like getting
submissive.
him. Yeah, he was like getting off on it somehow.
Yeah, like
but where
he
does
was
the
like
walk
he
in the
had to be-
bedroom come from?
So then we get to my house.
Wait, you get to your house. Did he pay you the $200?
He gave me the money.
Wait. How far was he following behind
Yes.
you?
Like we are just like me and my girlfriend and her
Like he
boyfriend.
was excluded from there.
Yeah, we're like he's like
being
a
cucked.
piece of shit. Like he doesn't matter. Like we're not like fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And
He
so
loved it.
yes,
Okay.
But he gave me the money before I started walking.
Wow.
Okay.
And then we get to the house and I was
Were
like,
you worried for your safety?
No, because I had
She
my
had her
roommate, my
roommate and
friend.
boyfriend, yeah.
Right. She's gonna fuck this guy up. It's fine.
No,
No,
the
no,
boyfriend.
her boyfriend,
Yeah,
her
her boyfriend.
boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
And we're back in our clothes.
And
so,
did you have cell phones at this time? What year is this?
God, it would be
It's like 98, 96.
90, mid 90s.
Okay.
So
No, you don't have a cell phone.
I can't
Maybe she has a
remember.
pager. You could see this bitch with a pager.
I definitely never had a pager. So then we get to the apartment, to the house, and he's like, "Hey, can I come in?" And I was like, "Absolutely fucking not! Like you just asked for this thing and whatever." And he like whips out like another $200 or $300, and he's just like, "Can you like let me in?" And then he's like, "You can keep all the doors open, let your roommates know, like let everyone know." And he's like, "But what I really would like you to do is like wear these red latex shorts that I used to wear." And he's like, "And then I want you to treat me like a dog." And I go,
God.
I don't understand this because I'm a young person and I don't fucking get it. Like, he's like, I can walk you through the whole thing. And then I went to my room. I put on the shorts. I wore a shirt. And he asked me for one of my belts. I got one of my belts. He put it around his neck. And I walked him like a dog around my whole house.
How much time?
Maybe half an hour.
Wow,
Did he have a dog name?
No, I didn't name him anything.
Did you feed him dog food?
I did not, I didn't have any dog food.
Was he bad?
It wasn't something I was planning for,
Did you have to smack him on his butt?
I
'cause
did.
He was
I
bad?
literally walked him around the house. I sat down on a chair and read a newspaper while I petted his head. I gave him a bowl of water.
Wow.
Did he drink from it?
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
has
yeah.
Mike heard this story?
Yeah.
Yes, Mike knows this for sure.
And then
this
like
is not even the first time I've heard this story. It's the first time with the most details.
yes. I can't even remember how much I made. I feel like I made somewhere between $400 and $600. It was like a
great.
sick amount of money.
That's a big win.
And then he had like at some point he like shuddered.
That's like going to Jamaica and bartending.
Over 4 nights. And then he like shuddered, which
Yeah.
I think might have been,
Wait, he just came in his pants while he was drinking out of the water bowl?
I do not know. All I can tell you is he shuddered. He like took off my belt and was like, "Thank you very much," and I never saw him again.
He never came back to the bar.
Never came back
He
to the
went to
bar.
a different bar to find a new walker.
Do you ever
I
wonder
think-
what he's up to now?
I do.
I literally.
What if someone writes in and like, that guy came to my bar?
Oh my
fucking
God, that
hope
would
so.
be amazing.
Like,
then
what
I'd
if
invite
we-
him to the show. We'd
Oh my
invite
God.
him
Like,
here.
what
yes.
other things have you been up to
Yeah,
since
wow.
1996?
Right.
Did it
wild.
psychologically mess with you beyond that night though?
No, I was so wild then.
Okay,
I was
so
so
never
wild.
like it
Then.
never left a negative like. It didn't mess with you.
No, I think that like I always tell people the reason I ended up working at that bar is my self-esteem is too low to actually be a stripper. Right? Like, it's just like,
But just low enough.
Just
Just
low
the
enough.
for
right
the red
amount.
latex shorts.
Because I was like, when I was younger, I was like, I just want to make money really, really fast, and I knew
Yeah.
that was like a way to make money, right?
Yeah.
But then
Seems
I
like
was
it worked out.
Yeah, I was like, I'm never going to be pretty enough to be a stripper.
But I will be ready enough to walk this dude around.
I'll walk this guy
Wait,
out.
did you buy yourself something nice with the money?
I think I probably paid rent or bought drugs.
So yes.
Both, yeah.
Yeah.
Both things.
Yeah.
Maybe. 95 rent. I mean, you could have
Wait,
done both.
do you have a story that can compete with that?
Not really.
Yes, you do. It just fucking flashed
Yeah,
across
I
his
saw
eyes.
that too.
No.
He
I
knew
did too.
No, I just
exactly
didn't
the
know like
story
what
that
kind of
he
can
would
of worms
tell.
I want to open up. No, there's one. Basically, there was like a random, like my friend was working for Time Out at the time, and she asked me if I wanted to write this. It's kind of like an anonymous bartender column about something like a one night stand or something like that. It's not a great story at all, but it just speaks to like,
let us be the judge of this.
No, it's just like, took someone home, basically middle of the night. Like, I realized like I didn't know what their name was. And so,
like at all.
No, and I was like drawing a blank, and I felt really guilty about it. And so I basically was like, I went to find her purse so I could like look up what her name was.
And she thought you were robbing her?
Exactly. And so and then she sees me like in her purse, and it's just so incredibly awkward. And that's kind of like, that's the one story that stands out. But it's also like so shitty to like not know someone's name. I don't know. It's kind of I feel shame about it, I guess. That was the hesitation in telling the story.
He's like, I have shame, but I put it in print in Time Out magazine.
No, that's
anonymously.
Anonymously. You'd have to dig
That's
into some old issues to find it.
Did you? What did she say when she saw you?
I don't even.
Why are you in my fucking purse?
I think
Danny?
I explained it.
She used his name, Danny.
No, I think I like came clean and explained it, and I think she believed me, and then, which was true, and then I think she still stayed over, and then like I just never saw her again, pretty much.
She still stayed over. See,
Yeah.
we women, we
I don't know
better.
if she did, but I remember like coming clean about it, and just like, what else was I was like, I'd rather admit that than be like, I'm trying to rob you. Like, what's worse, you know?
I'm just looking for a tampon.
Yeah.
I was
seeing if you had gum in
I
there.
was going to say
My
gum.
breath is really
gum.
bad. Yeah.
Do you have any gum in this
she's like,
bag?
well, your bathroom's right there with your toothbrush and
Right.
toothpaste.
I just wanted to make
would
sure
you
you
just
didn't have any drugs, just like in Pretty Woman. You
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
done the Richard
That
Gere,
would've been
like,
so good,
I
yeah.
don't do drugs in this house.
Would you
And
have?
what does she have in
brushed her
Pretty
teeth
Woman?
with
No,
with her
she's saying
stuff?
like, I'm saying I wouldn't have asked for gum for I wouldn't have been looking for gum for myself with my own bathroom.
For
right?
her.
Oh,
Yeah,
I got it.
And that could have been offensive too.
Yes.
Yeah, I was looking for gum.
For you.
And I don't know your name.
And it was after. I'm assuming this all was
it
happening
was
after.
yes.
I just noticed your mouth was open, so I'm just gonna shove this.
Yeah, she's like, what are you
piece.
putting in here? And then I'm like chewing her, like I'm like putting her chin to chew the gum.
Then you're like, do you want me to walk you like a dog around my apartment by any chance?
Oh my god, this has been so fun.
So fun. Do you want to be our permanent third? Well, you know
Let's
what?
do it.
You know what? You can't be our third
We
co-host.
gotta come back for Coyote
but
Ugly.
You can be our number one straight guy once
Oh my
a
God.
season.
If Mike
This is the
hears
guy.
this, he's gonna like
He's gonna be hurt?
He's gonna be hurt. He always thinks that Danny's cooler than he is.
Well, no, we had Mike on the
now his
podcast.
wife is gonna be like, I gotta bump him up.
Listen, we had Mike on the podcast. We picked a perfect movie for him. Everybody can go back and find it. Last season, Dead Poet Society. This poor man was so anxious before the podcast, during the podcast, and after the podcast that I can't believe he would ever want to come back.
Oh my god.
It was just like, did I say the right thing? Or I think that Adrian was asking me this thing, and I think I didn't say, what you wanted me to say. We were like, dude, chill.
Yeah, but he actually was very super talky on the podcast, which
Yes.
was like very impressive.
Yes.
And I would say that yes, I think if he was competing against Danny, he would be like, God damn it,
All right.
again,
Well,
again.
all right.
I get usurped
Fair enough.
by Danny. Danny, what after watching Cocktail, what Tom Cruise movies would you also recommend?
Or
to people?
drinking movies.
Or drinking movies.
Yeah, there's not really like a great movie that depicts the bar world. I think that's
Coyote
a little-
Ugly.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But yeah, there's a lot of great Tom Cruise. I mean, The Firm, like old school Tom Cruise
That's a
stuff.
good one.
Dude, every day I think, I don't like Tom Cruise. What a fucking weird Scientologist. By the way, my
Yeah.
aunt is a hardcore Scientologist, and I have a cousin who's exactly my age who she sold into the Sea Org. So it's like, I feel like I have a lot of information about this world. So I'm always like, Tom Cruise sucks. Anytime you fucking see him in something, he's
Yeah,
great.
he is
He's
great.
impossible to dislike.
I would say Few Good Men is my favorite.
That's a good one.
I would call Magnolia.
Oh,
And obviously
Magnolia's
Last
Of course you
Samurai.
would. You're like, are there fucking frogs flying from the sky?
Yes.
Or is
Mission
that Vanilla
Impossible
Sky?
one.
It's I
Yeah,
think
Vanilla. Oh no, Magnolia's
Magnolia.
the frogs.
Yeah, because
But
that's the
Vanilla
one with
Sky's
the,
great too.
Yeah.
Penelope
that is a good
Cruz.
one. Magnolia is the one with Julianne Moore, who I also think is like a hottie, hot. I would
I
definitely.
mean, Mission Impossible 1 is good.
All of the Mission
Yeah,
Impossibles
but the
are
first
good.
one's like the most.
where you know what the story
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, some of the other ones I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, I just saw the preview for the newest one that's coming out this summer with my mom. First of all, it's a part 1, which is like, what is this?
Annoying.
Is this going to be the end of the Mission Impossibles when they do the part 2?
But
But Tom's about 1,000 years old, still fucking adorable, doing his own stunts, totally into it. No, it's clear the plot makes no sense, but it's gonna be a great time. I'll be there.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys can come.
Less than 5
what is
milligrams of whatever.
Yeah,
edibles.
I won't even need edibles for that.
What is your favorite Tom Cruise?
I don't even know. I don't know.
What's your? Wait, are you kind of?
Yeah, right. I was
Magnolia.
Oh.
The last,
Wait, what are some? What are some
Samurai.
I've actually
not that one. You know, there's a
I haven't
Matt
seen it.
Damon one where he's also a samurai.
Oh my God. All right,
yeah.
let's go. Thanks for listening. I'm like, oh, this is another podcast topic. Thanks for listening to Don't Ruin This For Me. Special thanks to the Lincoln Lodge and our producer, Christine Ferreira, and our graphic designer, Jessica Savage, riding bikes through Michigan. And I'm so jealous.
Jessica Savage is living the RV life. You can follow her on Instagram. It's really upsetting for me, who is raising a 14-year-old in Evanston, Illinois. Maybe that's why I can't get a boyfriend. We'll front load that information at the top of the show so people just know.
So they know what they're getting into.
Right,
Yeah.
but then I'm charming, right?
Yeah.
They'll be into it. Where can our guests find you? What can they find? They can't find you behind the bar.
No, not often.
Yeah.
I did cover a shift at Heavy Feather recently.
Oh,
That
nice.
was pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, are you talking about like social media or just
Yeah,
in
your
general?
pod, the whole
Yeah,
thing.
so the
people are
podcast is
looking
at
for you.
Joiners Pod on Instagram, and then I'm just at DashFast, DashFast.
So fancy.
But yeah, Joiners is pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I mean,
I thought I was
obviously gonna
invited.
go.
Yeah.
Now I got to talk about the hospitality thing
Yeah.
as a lingerie bartender.
Yeah.
And you've got to go as the Cracker
Yeah.
Barrel 4-star.
You know, I have worked at other establishments. I also worked at a place called Tumbleweed. Tumbleweed was intense. You had to put the whole tray of food on your shoulder while carrying a luggage rack.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, to put it
and
up
then
on
you
the-
fucking flip the luggage
Yeah,
rack
and
and,
then
you
boom.
boom,
Yeah.
you know, like I was a young girl.
I believe you. I believe you were once a young girl. All right. If you're looking for a little bit more Adrienne and Elizabeth, check out our Substack newsletter. Adrienne's is called Where the Fuck's My Happy Ending? And recently she wrote about auras, which I haven't read yet, but I'm excited to read.
Jesus, this was 11 days ago. You
I
said
told
this at
you
the top of the pod.
I've had a rough couple of weeks.
Wait, what kind of auras? Like migraine auras? Or
no,
auras
I had
like
my
vibes?
I had my aura photograph.
Oh, cool.
Did you want to see it?
Yeah. let's
Okay,
check it out.
I'll show you on my phone.
We'll do it offline.
We'll do it in an auditory way. Ooh.
Mine was purple.
Yeah.
And mine is called Mixed Race Tape, and you can follow that one on Substack. I finally wrote one today after 3 weeks.
You're
It's been
fine.
miserable.
You're fine.
And follow the pod on Instagram at Don't Ruin This Pod.
Yeah, we're going to put something on that Instagram too. We're about to do it. And this might be our last episode for a minute,
Yep.
but maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
We'll see.
We'll be
You know
back
what?
in the fall.
We're just rolling with life.
You know what? Everyone should support middle-aged voices of women, don't you think?
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, so people should like this pod and rate it and follow us.
And review it.
Yeah.
Actually,
Are you going to do that?
Only,
I will.
only
Okay.
review it if you like us.
Yeah,
Don't-
only
don't-
positive reviews.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because they're
Otherwise, we're
supporting
gonna have to-
middle-aged women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the guy from the Michigan pizza place that you love?
What,
Beer Church?
I do love beer
Do you remember the
church.
scandal of 2020?
Of course. Do you know about this?
When he got a bat, the guy who owns Beer Church.
Okay, let me tell
Yeah.
you. So, the guy, do you know
Sorry,
Beer
is-
Church?
Oh, it's super good.
Well,
Where
we'll
is
go
it?
there.
Where in
In
Michigan?
Michigan.
It's in
Sawyer or
Oh.
somewhere near there.
yeah, it's
Okay.
like on the
near
water.
Greenbush or something. I mean, because Greenbush is in Sawyer.
All right,
It's
Danny,
on-
let's listen
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
story.
all
So
right,
you
yeah,
had
yeah,
to
sorry.
watch.
In COVID, we did a lot of like traveling through Indiana and Michigan. So
Yeah.
we'd stop at this place called Beer Church, which is like a brewery in an old church, and they make great pizza. And Chicago Magazine did a write-up of restaurants in Michigan, correct?
No, someone wrote a bad review of Beer Church.
That's not what happened. Chicago Magazine wrote an article about restaurants in Michigan in these little resort communities.
Oh, he was
and
left
he was
off.
fucking pissed that Beer Church wasn't in it. See, you come to me for the facts. Yes. So
I drink too much at Scofflaw.
So this guy, the owner of Beer Church, went fucking nuts. Tagged the writer, tagged Chicago Magazine, and I was writing for Chicago Magazine at the time. That's why we know about it.
Yes.
And he was going fucking crazy. Was that the end of the story?
Yeah, he just went nuts. He just started in all
over
the
the
social
internet.
media,
Did he
all over
implode?
internet. He probably did. No, the business is still open.
Oh, okay.
So you guys go to Beer Church.
I mean, it has great fucking pizza.
It's so good.
I would love to day trip to Beer Church this summer.
Absolutely. Done and done.
Free ads. By the way, not even sponsored by Beer Church, but if they want to sponsor, don't ruin this for
Reach
me.
out, yeah.
Same for Scofflaw. If you guys want to sponsor, don't ruin this for me. We'll shout you out.
Yeah.
But the whole point of telling this story is if you don't like us, don't say a word. Just shut up.
And that counts for Scofflaw too.
So good. Well, thanks for having me.